You know that saying, don't speak ill of the dead? Well, Mackenzie Casper is having a really hard time following that rule because her mother, the world-famous thriller author Renge, just died in a freak accident. And honestly, Mackenzie isn't crying. She's 21, wears black lipstick like armor, and feels absolutely nothing but relief mixed with bitterness because her mom was a cold, distant narcissist who cared more about book sales than her own daughter. But just as she's trying to survive the media circus of her mother's funeral, which is basically a PR stunt, Mackenzie finds a mysterious envelope in her car. Inside are diary pages written by her mother, starting with the chilling line, "Want to know a secret?" And let me tell you, this isn't a heartwarming secret. It's the beginning of a twisted confession that unravels a 20-year-old crime. Mackenzie, along with her ride-or-die best friend EJ, who is totally in love with her, by the way, starts reading these letters. They transport us back to the late 90s, introducing us to a young, shy orphan named Lizzy Dunn. Lizzy is talented, poor, and desperately in love with Ben Casper, a rich, charming guy who is essentially a useless frat boy with good hair. But Lizzy has a dark past. In her group home, she was assaulted by 3 boys in a barn, and in a moment of pure rage, she locked them inside and burned it down. She got away with it, but she wasn't the only one watching. Enter Tonya Schaffer, a fellow orphan and the ultimate mean girl, who knows Lizzy's secret and decides to use it. Tonya isn't just a bully, she's a sociopath who begins stalking Ben and Lizzy, systematically destroying their relationship while Lizzy is pregnant with Mackenzie. As Mackenzie reads these letters in the present, she realizes her parents' marriage was built on blackmail and misery. She starts digging into her mother's old manuscripts and realizes the fiction books are actually confessions. But things get weirder. Mackenzie tracks down an old housekeeper named Diane who worked at the group home. When Mackenzie shows Diane a photo of her late mother, the famous author, Diane drops a bombshell that changes everything. The woman in the photo isn't Lizzy Dunn. It's Tonya Schaffer. That's right, the woman who raised Mackenzie, the woman who died in the woods, was never her mother. She was the stalker who stole her mother's life. Here is the nightmare fuel of what actually happened 21 years ago. Tonya and Ben made a deal. Tonya wanted the money from Lizzy's genius writing, and Ben wanted to avoid prison for being an accessory to everything. When the real Lizzy went into labor at a remote cabin, things went wrong. She suffered a medical crisis, likely a stroke, leaving her nonverbal and incapacitated. Instead of taking her to a hospital, Tonya and Ben, pressured by Ben's ruthless mother Evelyn, decided to capitalize on the situation. They kept the real Lizzy locked away in that cabin, heavily sedated, while Tonya dyed her hair black, took the baby, and stepped into the role of Renge. For 2 decades, Tonya lived the high life, claiming Lizzy's books as her own, while the real Lizzy, the real genius, wasted away in isolation, scribbling nonsensical stories on scraps of paper. Mackenzie and EJ, horrified but determined, fly to Nebraska to find the truth. They track down the cabin from the clues in the letters. It's a heart-pounding moment when they pull up to this secluded house, guarded by a nurse, and then a woman walks out. She's frail, gray-haired, and broken, but when she looks at Mackenzie, she doesn't see a stranger. She reaches out, touches Mackenzie's face, and whispers, "Petal." That was the nickname the real Lizzy used in the diary letters for her unborn daughter. It's a gut punch of a moment that confirms the horror. Mackenzie's real mom has been alive this whole time, held prisoner by her father and the imposter. The aftermath is explosive. The FBI gets involved and the house of cards collapses. It turns out Ben and his mother, Evelyn, were orchestrating the whole thing to keep the money flowing. They get arrested and thrown in prison for life, satisfyingly charged with everything from kidnapping to fraud. But what about Tonya, the fake mom? Well, it turns out justice was already served. Diane, the housekeeper who knew the truth all along, had tracked Tonya down right before the book started. She confronted Tonya in the woods, and when Tonya tried to attack her, she slipped and cracked her head open. Diane watched her die and didn't lift a finger. So the accident wasn't an accident, it was karma coming to collect. Mackenzie brings her real mom home. It's a long road to recovery, but Lizzy is safe now, surrounded by people who actually love her. But because this book is insane, there is one final twist waiting in the wings. Mackenzie gets one last anonymous letter from the sender who started this whole journey. It turns out the sender wasn't a friend. It was Wallace King, a drug dealer and the former super of Lizzy's building who stole the diary years ago and sent the pages to torture Ben. But the letter drops one last truth bomb. In the diary, Lizzy confesses that during a brief breakup with Ben when he was cheating with Tonya, she sought comfort in the arms of her kind, supportive friend, John. Mackenzie realizes that Ben, the man who imprisoned her mother and lied to her for her entire life, isn't even her biological father. Her real dad is John Robertson, who happens to be her favorite college professor, the one person who actually supported her writing talent. The story ends with Mackenzie, EJ, Diane, John, and the real Lizzy having Thanksgiving dinner together. A weird, cobbled-together family of survivors who finally found their way back to each other. This book is a wild ride about identity, betrayal, and how far people will go for fame and money. It's absolutely terrifying to think about your entire life being a lie orchestrated by the people supposed to protect you. What would you do if you found out your parents were actually your mother's kidnappers? Let me know in the comments below what you think of that ending. And if you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more twisted stories just like this one.